my
I
goodness
like
me.
it.
Gordon, Paul and Nyesha joining us now. Welcome, lovely to see you. We have there's sort of an ITV do just before Christmas that we get to see all the sort of new stuff that's coming up, and that was there, and everybody said, "Oh my God, it's epic." This is born out of it's a lockdown idea.
That's right. Yeah, one of the most creative times in my career, certainly. And the industry came to a halt, as you know, and the whole country had to stand there. So I took that as a grassroots moment and started developing something exciting and thinking about all our careers and where we started in the basement and graduating up to a sort of decent kitchen and then the prime kitchen. So how do you combine that into one amazing show? And so 3 kitchens stacked on top of one another with this amazing platform that descends within seconds. Paul and Nyesha have been amazing mentors. So cooking quickly and pivoting with that kind of pressure and putting professional chefs, social media chefs and home cooks in that mix, it was electrifying.
So that's the idea, is to work your way from the basement up into the top. And the top comes with its advantages because you've got this descending sort of elevator of food and ingredients that works its way down. If you're at the top, you get the first pick. Having the best ingredients, is that always the best thing?
Yeah, I mean, you start off, like you say, but you've only got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then that platform disappears to the next floor. And then by the time it gets to the basement, not only are you in basic conditions, I mean, really basic, you've also got, like, a turnip and a, like, lung.
Oh.
A turnip and a lung.
Yummy, yummy.
What a dish.
Sounds great.
So, Nyesha, what I love is the fact that if you are faced with turnip and lung in the basement, that you have to use those. You've got to cook with them. So then it's what you end up with. It's the fact that you've got blunt lives and you're in a sort of pretty rubbish kitchen, but you still have to create.
You know, so the interesting thing is actually seeing the professional chefs and the home cooks work in these different environments, because that's really what levels the playing field, right? I think it's an opportunity to be creative in an environment like that, because you have to use the tools that are in the kitchen. So it's important to not overthink a dish. And, you know, it's really actually compelling to see some of the best dishes come out of the basement.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because you would assume, I'm looking at this, it's like professional chefs against home cooks and social media chefs. I'd be like, I think I know how to put my money on here. But that's not always the case.
Yeah, think again. It's interesting, isn't it, that whole phenomenon with social media, boom, and so they're creating such magical moments. But there was this incredible £2.50 challenge from the platform where, I mean, the average chef spends £2.50 on butter, let alone a complete dish. So they're like a fish out of water. And these home chefs just absolutely took control and cooked some of the most amazing dishes, chicken thigh, can of chickpeas and squash tomatoes. I spent the majority of the time in the basement. He's Mr. Lavish, and Nyesha was keeping it real in the middle because, I remember this guy starting off when we were working together back in early 2000s at Royal Hospital Road. He had a Swatch as a watch. He's now elevated to a Rolex. And so that's exactly where he is.
I tell you what, if he kept the Swatch in the box, it'd be worth a fortune now.
Yes! How many Rolex did you have now?
One that you gave me as a present for doing your show.
So how do you decide who's going to be where within the kitchen?
So they all start off on the floor, 3 teams, and then the first time they see us is when we don't know who we've got. The lift goes up and down, and we'll open up on the basement, and that's my team. And then Nyesha will introduce herself to her team, and likewise with Paul. So it's all a surprise at the beginning, but it unveils, in Ep 1.
And Nyesha, you could help them. So a bit different from most kind of sort of judging positions in shows like this. You're actually there to mentor and help.
Yeah, very different. It's actually the best part of the show because you get to be the sort of voice of reason in real time, which when your brain is on a trajectory to create and execute so quickly, it's nice to have a second set of eyes sort of guiding you and saying, add a little lemon juice or pull back on the salt or, sort of those...
They're learning along the way as well.
100%, absolutely.
I would have thought possibly one of the most important things about cooking and coming up through the ranks, learning your trade, is the passing on of knowledge.
Yeah, and you really get the opportunity to... Well, first of all, you quickly become a family. When I met my 4 contestants, you just want to see them because they've all got such a strong why. There was a chap, called Gold. who just wanted to get out of corporate world and he wanted to make cooking his living. And for him, the mentoring, the nurturing, you're trying to guide them. You get really, really invested in it. And yeah, and it's like I say, when you know you're in the basement, you've got to...
It's heartfelt.
It's hard.
Really heartfelt. Then you've got to get the dish back on the platform. Let's not forget that. So you've got 2
in
minutes to go.
time.
In time, and sadly, across a lot of the episodes, they missed it because cooking's all about timing.
Yeah.
And like this show, it's incredibly live and you've got to be on it, and it's the same. And they missed the platform. So 45 minutes have gone past and they didn't get it on. So they go straight to the elimination and then they face the dreaded cook-off. So timing's crucial today, and wasting zero is important.
So you're saying the people that you mentor, they're all like families, which means you must be very invested, which means I think there's probably an element of competition between the three of you. I don't know if I even need to ask this question, but who's the most competitive?
Oh, it's definitely me. There's no two ways about that. No, I mean, honestly, I was always in the basement and sort of... I was hoping that they were
always in the basement.
dropping things down like little basil leaves or little squash tomatoes, a little can of chickpeas.
It made me laugh in the brief today. It says, I think I've mellowed a bit. Have you?
No.
I was like, where did that come from?
I'm super competitive. This one, Nyesha and I were very fortunate enough to work with a guy called Joe Robuchon, the late Joe Robuchon, phenomenal chef. So she's so feisty. Paul, as you know, was part of the dream team Royal Lost Road back in the early 2000s. So, and he's lit up Cornwall now, which is amazing. So we are so competitive, which is healthy, right?
Is it?
Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh, it is.
I think, well, it is a competition, ultimately, so you have to.
Your contestant won in America on the first ever series.
She did, and she's such a phenomenal, spirited person, and is putting not only her food, but her entire heritage and culture to be celebrated. And that's something that, you know, will last a lifetime. That's really the special part of the show, is that there's a legacy behind it.
Yeah.
And there's £100,000 up for grabs, but also, more importantly, being mentored for the sort of foreseeable future.
By all three of us on speed dial, you know, tapping into all three of our businesses and helping them, you know, get to the next level, which is really important.
And so, the competition aside, have you mellowed a wee bit now? You seem less scared.
I should think, yes.
It's very nice.
Honestly, you know, I suppose just having 5 amazing kids and just being fortunate to develop this show and getting the backing from ITV, when you see the talent that's produced, you know, from tomorrow night onwards, I think it'll be pretty blown up.
So that's calmed you down, has it?
That's made me excited, and he still rubs me up the wrong way, and she still pushes me and takes the mickey non-stop, trust me.
It sounds like the perfect dream team.
And Gino still winds me up. That's just French.
Are you been filming?
Literally just got back from Spain.
Disaster?
Big disaster. I think they're still both there, I think. I think we left them behind. Shockers.
Oh, well, we love that show, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I think I'm going to fall in love with it. Tomorrow, 9 p.m, ITV, Next Level Chef is what we've been talking about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.